Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
I am that dude, Bodkins. Patty to patty. It's ridiculous. No way. There's nobody else out there. He's your guy. Give a big round of applause for the one and only BodkinShow. I'm going to repeat that again, folks. I didn't stutter. Welcome to the Bodkins Show.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of the Bodkin Show. I am your host, Bodkins. The intro didn't play on my end, so gotta love technology. Anyway, hope everybody is having a great weekend. It is Sunday evening. If you missed it, please check out the LTS show. Last Thursday, we did our AL East preview. So far, it was a great Saturday. Me and the wife went out and saw the legendary man that is Bill Burr last night. Absolutely killed it. It was hilarious. And then she is out of town, so it's just me by myself tonight at the house. So and why not kick off another great episode of the Bodkin Show? I don't really know what this guy is to me, to our guest tonight. Is he a friend? Is he a frenemy? It just really depends. I can tell you this, folks. He is the ultimate Packers troll. A guy where I just said, hey, man, next time you want to troll Packers Nation, I know that you don't mean all the dumb shit that spews out of your mouth, because you're not that dumb, because I know I've had conversations with you and I know that you're smarter than this. And I'm like, leave me out of the tagged post, because I don't need my Twitter just blowing up all day while I'm at work. I got better things to do. Welcome to the show, none other than my frenemy, my friend, Mr. Andy, NFL Outdated, baby.
Well, that was an amazing intro. Wow. I don't know how to top that. I mean, I thought we were best friends, Bodkins. I thought we were best friends, but, hey.
Well, in a few short days, in about a week, we can be best friends, Andy,
That's true. That's true. The one thing is all the Packer trolling and all that has been more fun than this whole Bears Civil War, and culminated with obviously I'm sure we'll kind of get into it and everything, but Justin Fields being traded, and me doing my tearful goodbye video, and so many people thinking that I lived in my parents' basement and I needed to be checked into a mental hospital. And I said, come on, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. I love me some Justin Fields, but let's chill.
I mean, we start there. Hey, I appreciate you having me. You've been on once before. It's almost a little bit over a year, I think. And I've obviously been on the Freezing North a time or two. And it's always a pleasure. It's always fun. I thought this was the perfect time to get your feelings of the Justin Fields situation. We got our Cubs, about to kick off their season. And Iowa. I mean, Andy, we could be best friends if you were just a Packers fan and not a Packers troll. But, Caitlin Clark is doing her thing in the tournament. But let's start there. You're Justin Fields. You were behind Fields. You were the half, like you said, Civil War. I felt like just me on Twitter and reading and talking to you and my other friend Craig, who's a big Bears fan. It seemed like there's a Civil War. Half the people wanted Fields, half the people want Caleb Williams. You were a Fields guy, and now what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I love Fields. I love the potential. There's so much that he did. There's obviously a lot of growth that he needed to happen, but he was the consummate, player who just, did his job, worked hard, and was great in the locker room. So that was hard. It's hard as a Bears fan. I know you're a Packer fan and don't know about this, but it was hard to just fathom starting again with a quarterback and just, what's going to happen. Right. So it's not so much as, in my estimation, Fields versus Williams, but it's Fields, it's starting over, but then even thinking about what the Bears could get for trading the number one pick, because there's still
a massive haul.
We were last year in the second year of a 3-year rebuild, did better than a lot of people thought. even with Justin Fields hurt. So I love Justin Fields as the player. And so now my biggest thing with the Caleb Williams stuff is I don't like when I hear about any prospect, all good things, right? Tell me what they need to get better at. And that was the thing with Justin Fields, right? Like he does need to get better at stuff. And I've been saying that on my podcast and everything. Even though I love Justin Fields, he does need to get better at stuff. I have very few people, other than just recently, Dan Orlovsky on ESPN has talked about the things that Caleb needs to get better at. And I would love the Bears to have generous and quarterback, but there has to be something. There has to be some holes to his game, and that's what worries me. So, and obviously the whole Civil War, it's like, if you said anything good about Justin, it's like, well, you don't know football. And all these people are saying that Caleb is the best thing since sliced bread. He's the best thing in 100 years of football. No, I mean, there has to be something out there rather than everybody regurgitating the same thing over and over again about a quarterback prospect. So yeah,
I've said this before. When they tell me, oh, Caleb Williams is Patrick Mahomes plus, I say this: you ain't even know Patrick Mahomes was going to be Patrick fucking Mahomes. So how can you tell me somebody was Patrick Mahomes plus if you didn't even know in college that Patrick Mahomes was going to be Patrick Mahomes? Because if he was Patrick Mahomes, the Bears, you know what I mean? The Bears probably would have had Patrick Mahomes, right? Like that's instead of Mitch Trubisky and Deshaun Watson was even ahead of all of them. Like you would have been the number 1 pick. Instead, you were number 10, and the Chiefs traded up to get you. So it doesn't make any sense to tell me that Caleb Williams is Patrick Mahomes plus when you didn't even know Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes.
He does. And the thing too, like the whole, then he got traded and Travis setting up what's the difference between Justin Fields? Yeah. So that's a great question because you look at a lot of the highlights and a lot of them,
a lot of the same things. Yeah.
Yes. And he's smaller, right? And so who knows? Obviously he can make more of the throws, and that was a big thing in his pro day, that he can do more from the pocket and all that. And so that's the hope that he can. But yeah, that's what worries me. He looks a lot like, USC's line was horrible, and he had to roll out a lot. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I do feel bad for him because I just think no matter what he does, there's going to be scrutiny, right? Like, it'll be vice versa, like him crying on the field, him in this weird, dresses in outfits that he wears. But I think for Bears fans, my buddy Craig said he don't care what he is or what he does as long as he can win games on Sunday. Yes. Are you to that?
Yeah. So that's the thing,
matters, right?
It absolutely does. And so number one, and as much as I troll Packer fans go back and forth, it's hard to not admit that the Packers games are the Bears Super Bowl. We have to win. And I'm going to say this. I mean, he's a rookie. There's going to be so much expected from him, from fans, especially pro Fields fans, myself included. It's time. The roster's been set up. At least beat Green Bay once. That's all I'm asking. If we go 7-10, 8-9, even if we go 6-11, we beat Green Bay once. Okay, there we go. We need something in that realm to kind of turn that around. But with Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and the defense, there's going to be a lot expected, and probably more than has been expected from any rookie quarterback, and that's a lot.
It is, and you're right with Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and that's the thing about Fields is he never, up until this past year, he never even had any sort of weapons. Like there was nobody, and then he changed coaches twice or coordinators 3-4 times. Like that's hard on a young kid, and I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked Craig the other day: is do you consider Justin Fields a bust right now?
Oh, absolutely not. You can't. I mean. Here's the thing, right? Value is value at the moment, right? And he had 2 games with 4 touchdown passes. That's he had a rookie record for rushing in a game. And I was at that Dolphins game. So there's so much potential. There's so much that he's already done. So he's not a bust yet, obviously yet. If he doesn't do anything in Pittsburgh, Yes, right.
I think Pittsburgh's the perfect spot for him to go to.
is.
Like, go
It is.
sit behind Russ Wilson in a great a steady organization. Who the coach has been there. Now I know
Yes.
Artie Smith's the new OC, but like that stability, like that's something the
Mm-hmm.
Bears have never had. Since
Yep.
the days of Ditka, really.
Agreed. And the other thing about value, right? And obviously, Packer fans are all over me on Twitter about, oh, Justin Fields stinks. He was only traded for a 6th-round pick, and part of it, I think, too, that's not really being talked about is I think at the beginning of May they have to decide whether to extend him or not, right? And that's a hefty price tag to, what are you going to do? I mean, I really think that he is the future in Pittsburgh, and so they're probably gonna. I mean, maybe it's a Jordan Love type or a little bit lower, a contract where he bets on himself, and the team says, okay, because they're gonna have to decide really soon. So I think that deterred a lot of teams. But the other thing is, Ryan Poles said, he was going to do right by Justin Fields, and it stinks to only get that from a organizational standpoint. But on the other hand, I think in the locker room with how beloved Justin Fields was and it still is in that locker room, that was probably the best thing to do is, to show the other players how good, you're going to get treated from this organization. And I mean, the Bears organization, I'm going to admit, has been trashed for a long time and just hasn't done things right. And I think this is a culture move to do it that way. And so Justin Fields wanted to go to Pittsburgh. And so Ryan Poles, they facilitated that from happening. And so I mean, everyone's like, well, Justin Fields is only worth a 6th-round pick, LOL. Like, no, if you're saying that, I get it. I respect it, the trolling, because I do it too, but it's just not. It is
game recognized game.
Yeah, but you can't get me with that one. So.
Yeah, no, you're right. He did want to go to Pittsburgh, and Poles did right by him. Now, I don't know, how much Curry that favors Poles with other players or the team. You know what I mean? Or really himself. Like he could have done himself a better favors by taking the best offer for the Bears. But then, for the team wise, right? Like maybe they remember that, hey, this guy will do right by us if we do right by him.
Well, that was a big thing. Even, not only that, but with the Jalen Johnson thing, right? That was you get a homegrown player that shows out and really comes up big. You want to give him that next contract, and that was all in Chicago radio. That you have to show your players that if they play well, they're going to be they're going to do right by you that way. They're going to reward you on the play, and they're going to be loyal to you. Right. And so that's part of it, and for so long, the Bears have either traded away those players or let them walk or whatever. So this is that, so the Jalen Johnson was a step toward that. And this Fields thing, I think, is a step toward it. But and I've also been a huge Ryan Poles guy. I love what he's been doing and what he's been building from last year's draft and everything. But they're going to have to, stack wins. I mean, it just really
surprised. Eberflus is still the coach.
I am. I mean, in that, because when he was signed on, I mean, I was thinking for a while, okay, that means that they're going to keep developing Justin, right? But because they did this before, you bring in a rookie quarterback in Justin, and then you have a lame duck coach, and so I think the one thing that saved Eberflus, well, there's maybe two things here. One is real and one is maybe funny. So the one thing I think obviously is how well he did defensively the last part of the season. But obviously it helps to have Montez Sweat, and then showing out, but. With how good of a defensive play caller he is, I think that's huge, right? So that's the main thing. The other thing is the bromance with Matt LaFleur. I think that's and he's got a nice. He went to the game with him, the UConn game the other day, and he's showing out and everything.
Oh, so they didn't fire him, so Eberflus didn't. Keep
I think so.
Mac bring him as the DC.
Oh, no. I was just saying, like, Matt LaFleur is, teaching him how to dress, teaching him how to have, so he's taking him under his wing. So, the whole new Floos. So we'll see. I mean, but a lot's going to be expected, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if we don't get wins, I mean, he could lose his job. So,
And then you got to think of people, you could have had a year when Mike Tomlin was not Mike Tomlin, but Mike Vrabel, was out there available. I mean, really, Bill Belichick, and I'm not saying like the Bears should bring in Bill Belichick in, but a guy like Mike Vrabel who's been proven, to do well and coach well. Like, and there was another coach out there that had just got fired too. That it was like, man, why don't the Bears just bring him in and see what happens? So. Craig Hogers, Craig, speaking of Craig, big Bears fan. Eberflus been cooking with the dollar store groceries. So they do got some talent. It'll just be interesting what they do now. What do you want them to do with that second pick? I mean, if Williams is the first overall pick, which we all suspect, what they got the fifth or sixth pick or ninth pick or something?
Yeah, they have the ninth pick. I'm guessing that they will trade down because they've got only 4 picks in this draft, right? But if they do not, I am a couple players possibly, right? I think they really need a left tackle. Joe Alt would be huge, right? He is a massive.
I think the Titans are in on Alt pretty bad now, especially they could have went receiver, but when they got Ridley, I think that sums up that. Mr. First Down, who's a co-host on the LTS show, big Titans fan, said that they're all in on Alt. Hopefully,
I know that was the whole. Yeah, I think he would be huge. So either like Roma Dunze, I think would be a great pick there, or Jared Verse, right? I mean,
another receiver, go receiver.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, everyone says, well, we've got Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. Nothing after that. Absolutely nothing after that. And so
and Keenan Allen isn't the most. He's on the tail end. And I mean, I know he just had a career year, but he's been injury prone in the past.
So that, and he's kind of on a 1 year, I believe 1 year deal type of thing. We'll see if they extend him, but I think that was smart to get him now. And obviously they knew they were going Caleb Williams or a rookie quarterback, and to just have that other veteran wide receiver to help with the development, because that's they didn't do that obviously with Fields, but so this. You got a veteran wide receiver that can get open, that runs routes, plus DJ Moore. I mean, they can do a lot quickly, and not just like screens and things like that Luke Getsy did. So yeah.
And Getsy's now the OC in Oakland. I don't know if they're just trying to team him up with Devontae. I didn't understand that move for what did he do to prove that he's an OC?
Yeah, I don't know at all. I mean, he did have some good games. So the big thing on him was he in Chicago radio talked about this all the time. He was good with game planning, right? And that's half of it, the game planning. And when he came to Chicago, he didn't have any experience calling plays, and so he put together good scripted game plan. But the big knock on him and the rest of us Bears fans, I think, was in-game adjustments. It just wasn't happening. And then falling in love with the screens, and just telegraphing them.
Yeah.
And, I mean, even in the Bucks game, like goal line, you're going to throw a screen. Oh, here's an interception, touchdown, and that was it, so that, so I think these coordinators who have done it before, they get the benefit of the doubt a little bit. And I think you're right with the Devontae. I think he may have been like okay, we like this guy. We can maybe do something with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, they got ties when they were in Green Bay together. What's your thoughts on the Bears bringing in Swift to go with that backfield? Because they had Herbert and that kid from Texas that everybody I had talked to and was kind of high on. And, I thought maybe he'd take the next step. And then they bring in Swift. So it's just like, well, there's no Roshan Johnson. Is the guy I'm thinking of. But
yeah, I love
Roshan would take the next step, and then it would kind of be their real number two this year, and then they bring it Swift.
Yeah, I love Rashawn Johnson. The big thing with him, he's a tough runner. Like, I mean, if you watch some of the games, like he smacks into players. But he ended up being a little bit different player after he got his concussion, after he kind of, so we'll see, as he continues to develop. I think Swift is good. Obviously, you got another veteran, young, talented player. And obviously he needs to stay healthy, right? But he's a dynamic player. I think that's going to be huge in the offense where they can do a lot of different things. I really think, NFL, I mean, you look at it, the days of the bell cow back are, I don't know, over, but
it's a two-back system for sure. You got to have two, maybe even three. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. So I like that pickup. And it's funny because I did go on a podcast saying, oh man, I don't know about Swift, but mainly because of the injuries. Like, he's got so much talent and you just never know. And that's why, obviously I get it as a Packer fan, you're excited about Josh Jacobs, but it really is a big thing with the amount of carries and the injuries. If that's going to be the back that you're going to rely on full time, it's hard, so, I like having Swift there, but I also like that Rashawn Johnson's young and he's a hard, tough runner. So I like the mix there.
Yeah. For Green Bay, I mean, to get Jacobs, I said this, it's sad to see Jones go. I really wanted to keep them both. Jones going to Minnesota for 1 year for only like $7 million kind of hurts. It's like we couldn't have given him $7 million, but he maybe just wants to be the lead back and didn't want to be the number 2. And Jacobs is going to be the one. We did keep Dillon, so that's a good 1-2 punch. And I think we'll take a running back in the 3rd or 4th round, hopefully, and maybe develop because Jacobs is 4 years younger than Jones, so that's nice. And he signed him to a 4-year contract, and Dillon's on a 1-year deal for the most part. So I mean, the division's going to be wide open. I think Green Bay, Detroit. I do think the Bears right now have jumped over the Vikings, just with the Keenan Allen thing. And who knows who's going to be quarterback in the Vikings as Kirk Cousins gone.
Yeah, I think that's I mean, it's obviously everyone is wants to be positive about their team and everything. But I think, and I was this way a couple years ago with the Bears. Like, you just have to be realistic, though, right? I knew it was kind of a, Justin Fields' first year. I knew it was going to be, okay, well, we are, I wanted to see growth. I wanted to see different things. I knew it was kind of rebuilding. But, with the Vikings, it really is, without Kirk Cousins, it is a rebuilding year. Obviously, Jaron Hall is not, I mean, they're going to put the rookie out there, whatever rookie is.
Yeah,
they're going to put
JJ. Who knows? I mean, it's all smoke screens. I would say anything you see in the draft, it's more smoke than at a Snoop Dogg concert because you just never know what to believe. But right now, today, March 24th, is that they like JJ McCarthy. Now that could change by March 28th. And then that could change to another name by the time we get to the actual draft day.
It absolutely is. And I mean, we were both at the draft last year, and you hear the whole Will Levis could go number 1. Will Levis could go high, and then he doesn't go to the second round. And obviously, as a fellow Iowa fan, I mean, JJ McCarthy, and if JJ McCarthy, if the Vikings trade up to get him, I'm excited for that because he is Christian Ponder, 2.0.
Yeah,
I mean, I get it. Like, some of these GMs fall in love with some of these quarterbacks, right? For, being a winner, right? But Harbaugh was the winner, right? You got Blake Corum. I mean,
McCarthy didn't have to throw it. You know what I mean? Like they ran the ball a lot. It's not coming from a pass heavy offense. So
he didn't even maybe 2,600 yards, something like that last year in the college. Yeah. So I get it. Obviously they're high on Addison, and Addison's good. Right. And Jefferson's there. Right. But I mean, as a Packers fan, I mean, you've shut Jefferson down before, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the thing. I think just being honest about your team, and, if you have a rookie, that's the 4th best, you're going to trade up for the 4th best rookie quarterback. Really? I'm not scared. I'm not.
Yeah, me neither. And that's, some people have him as a 4th. A lot of people have him less than that. You know what I mean? So
So like it's so crazy, this whole quarterback, like the smoke and everything. Like who do you like more? Who do you don't? I mean, looking back last year,
Yeah.
like, the whole Bryce Young thing. And I still think Bryce Young can be good, right? But obviously there are the questions about him, be it his height and other things.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, what if the Bears shock everybody and go Jaden Daniels, first or whatever? That would almost I don't know, piss me off, but annoy me a little bit, because like if you're not right, if you're not gonna
Yeah.
go Caleb, trade down.
I think it's Caleb. I think it's got to be Caleb.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but if they don't go Caleb and don't trade down, I'm gonna be pissed, because everybody says this is the best quarterback since sliced bread. Go ahead and get him.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
F around and find out.
Yeah.
Right.
Find out.
Don't.
I mean,
just
it's
go,
going to be Eberflus's and Nagy, or not Nagy, but Ryan Poles' jobs. Yeah, they're going to be gone, So then it'll be the next guy, and then they just do it all over again like they've done for the last, half century.
Yeah. That is why I put my effort into behind the curtain here. That's why I put my effort into trying to flip the script, flip the narrative, and troll the Packer fans, because that's all I have right now. That's all I have.
I know, Andy. I know it's all you got. I know. Hey, just stop tagging me in it, because I know you don't believe the dumb shit.
Sir.
You know what I mean? My phone's blowing up because people are buying into your bullshit, and I'm not buying it. I know you. I know you're smart. And that's why we can be friends again, Andy, because now next week it's baseball season. I mean, our Cubs, they go in there, they tell Craig Counsell, hey, welcome to Chicago. Thanks, David Ross. We love you. We appreciate you, but get the fuck out. I had people telling me that was the wrong way to do business. I said, it's just like football. It's just like free agency. You have a player, let's just say a quarterback, right? We have a good quarterback. We like him. But you know what? There's this guy over here. He's a little bit better. Why not we make a phone call? Hey, do you want to be our quarterback? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hey, guess what? We're improving our team. And by all counts, Craig Counsell is a better manager than David Ross. David, we love you. Appreciate it for 2016. You had no business really managing them, this team anyway. Thanks. Yeah. So now it's time to get to a real manager, a guy who can take us hopefully back to the promised land.
That's the hope, right? And I just don't know what to make yet of this Cubs team. It's really hard. Like I agree. I love the Counsell thing. That's the thing. Like I think as fans, we look at things differently, and like even with the Bears stuff. Yes, I love Fields or whatever, but I'm going to support whatever quarterback is going to be there, right? Because I want, as a Bears fan, I want to win. As a Cubs fan, I want to win too, right? And if you go ahead and David Ross, sentimental, great guy, great part of that 2016 championship, but he had issues, right? And that was his first kind of really opportunity, right? And you want a manager who's been consistent, who, and obviously, living in Wisconsin here, Craig Counsell had some, a lot of detractors here. And when he's with the Brewers, but he has proven where he can do more with less in a small market, right?
Exactly. He took some of them Brewers teams and made them really good when they weren't. They shouldn't have been very good. And when they traded Josh Hader, you know what I mean? Like a couple years ago, that's on the general manager trading Josh Hader in the middle of the season, and they went on
Josh Hader. Yep.
Yeah, like that's not on Craig Counsell. You know what I mean? Like
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, so I like the whole Bellinger stuff. That they have him back, right? I think that's huge.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm just it's hard to really know. I don't know. Are you thinking we can at least challenge?
I think we're going to win I think we can win. Should win the division. Do I think anything other than it? I don't think we're going to expect it to compete with the likes of the Braves and the Dodgers. No. But this division, the NL Central is not very good. You look around, you got the AARP team up here in St. Louis. It's a nursing home. Sonny Gray's already going to start the season on the DL. The Brewers sold off, Corbin Burns, and they got a new manager. Utah, the Reds. A lot of people. Jonathan Grisham joins us every Monday on the LTS. He loves the Reds, and that could be the team that could catch us. The Pirates are going to be improving as well, but a lot of people like the Reds. I worry about the Cubs bullpen. What's his name? Continue to be the Albert Alazai? Can he continue to be the closer? Like came on late last year, So I worry about those, setup pieces. How good's that pen going to be? Is this rookie Japanese pitcher that we brought in? Is he's going to be as advertised? And can Justin Steele be like that NL Cy Young, a guy that takes? And can we get a resurgence from Kyle Hendricks? That it's going to have a lot of questions, but we should win it's a winnable division, and I feel like we should win it. Like you finished second last year, so I'm hoping last year was 2014. To put it in hindsight, this year can be 2015.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because that's the thing. Like you got still some young players that have to kind of establish themselves and everything, and if we can at least be in the mix, obviously. In the playoffs, like anything can happen, right? And so I think, just to be right there, I like that. Yes, yeah.
Play meaningful games in the month of August and September, man, and hopefully you can win this division. It's winnable. Like you look at like I said, everybody else has a bunch of holes. I think top to bottom we have the best roster now. Again, because I don't really think the Reds. Their pitching staff's any good. Some of these rookies,
that's been the thing
that played well, like that Assad kid, that other rookie that pitched well at the back end of last year. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he pitched well. Can we continue? Like, can they go? Man, it's going to be. We got a lot of young team. I do think we got some building blocks around Nico Horner, Ian Happ, like mixed it with those guys.
Michael Bush is coming in. I think that'll be good.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I do, going back kind of the manager thing, right? The one thing I do like, I feel like David Ross like really tinkered with the lineup like too much last year.
Yeah.
And I get, as a manager trying to, get things going, but like, I think when you have Craig Counsell, who's established kind of in game, knows what he's doing. If we can get a lineup and, get firing early, get some good wins. And then, I think that's huge too. Strategy wise. But yeah, you look at, Christopher Morel, hopefully he has a good season. So we do have pieces, the, roster and everything. It's just tough to kind of, with baseball, like it's so much different than football, right? Like, so much, it's such a long season and, so many things have to fall, right. But at least you can kind of be in the mix, you get to the playoffs and then just kind of go where, see where the chips lie. Even the Dodgers, they've already got issues.
Who knows? Shohei. Well, who knows what happens with Shohei?
Or even their, didn't they have another pitcher?
The Japanese pitcher. His first start gave up like 5 earned.
Yep. So like who knows? Roster wise, we're obviously not the favorite to make the World Series, but you have a player like Bellinger who's been there before, and Swanson won one with the Braves, right?
Yeah.
So those are the players I think that down the stretch can really make a difference to take us from either we're the wild card or the division winner, and then like in the playoffs, let's make something happen, make a run, and that would be cool. It's hard, and this like as a Cubs fan, like we had 2016. It's almost kind of like I'm like like everything's gravy now, right? Like, but I
don't know. It's not though, because I want it again. You know what I mean? Like that's. I just want it. Yeah. I want I don't want to like how good that run was, and I just think that run too. Like it's almost like a disappointment. Like what I mean. I remember. I think somebody asked me like, "Hey, if you in that run in 2015, like if you don't win, what's the over under for all those guys?" Like. Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, like that group, like World Series, like 2.5 is the over. Let's put it over under. I probably would have said the under, but expected 2, you know what I mean? Like 2 and maybe lose 1, like make 2, 3 World Series. And you only got the 1, and it just nothing ever had. It's like they never, I guess Rizzo, if you really look at it, Anthony Rizzo has been the only one that's maintained a great career afterwards. Like Javi Baez, hasn't done much. Addison Russell's not even in the league anymore. Chris Bryant's, banged up and always hurt, it seems like. And I'm, the Rockies, like it's just crazy how like everything turned out.
It is. Yeah. I mean, even Chris Bryant said he should have done his homework a little bit more on going to the Rockies, and so like it is. I mean, that's a whole testament to like how things can bounce a certain way, and I hate to think that 2016 was, I don't know, a fluke, right? Because we were good afterwards, but like it's so hard to get to the World Series in baseball and just maintain that. But actually having won it, I mean, obviously, living here in Wisconsin, so many Brewers fans around and give me a hard time being a Cubs fan, but to having actually won that, I'm like, okay, we've been there. The it's there for us to take again, and like now, like even with the Brewers, like they were kind of up there, but they didn't even get to the World Series. Like it was kind of like last year was supposed to be the year, and then like the Diamondbacks, right? I went to that playoff game actually, and they just got like they got smacked, right? It's like, oh, okay,
not as easy, huh? It's not as easy.
Exactly. Yeah. So
well, that's it's Craig always gives me a hard time because I give him, I give Bears fans a hard time. You guys can't even make it to the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. And then it's, well, how do you guys have 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks and only win 2 Super Bowls out of all of them? Well, shit, man, there's only been 2 teams that's ever really won back-to-backs, in the last 20 plus years, and that's the Patriots and the Chiefs. Like, shit happens, man. It's not all on Rodgers, I'm saying, or Brett Favre, but like some of that was on coaching, some of the way the balls just fucking bounced, like it's just heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak every year. And it's just like, man, we could never, for whatever reason, you would expect Aaron Rodgers to have more than the 1 or Brett Favre have more than the 1. Then it never came. It just never came, man. It just like, every time.
I think, hard when after you win a championship, obviously we haven't been in the locker room, but you can tell like, after you win a championship, maybe teams aren't as hungry. You kind of relax a little bit, obviously with the Chiefs, they're in the Patriots, they've got, those like all-time great quarterbacks that are not going to let it happen. And football is a little bit different, right? I think, baseball. Yeah. I mean, when you think of baseball, I mean, who's the last? Were the Yankees the last repeat?
The Yankees, 2000, 2001. So we haven't had back-to-back World Series championships 2025, or
Yeah. So you think about that.
25 years, 24 years, I guess, right?
Yeah, you think about
2000.
In how because it's such a long season, it's such a grueling stretch of like games. Like it's so crazy to think of like, oh, here it's going to be end of March, April, and baseball starting. I remember last year going to opening day. The Brewers, being in the area, going to that opening day game, and then going to late season games. Like it just seems like so long ago. Like how long the season is.
It's a marathon. I mean, that's the thing. Everything's, you got to zoom it down into a microscope, like 2 weeks at a time, 3 weeks at a time, because man, it's a long season, 162 games. And I think the last team to make it, I guess, I can't remember if the Astros made it back-to-back World Series, but even the Royals have made it. A couple teams have made it back-to-back, but it's just hard to, didn't win it for twice.
Yeah, the Royals were 2014 and then won in 2015. I do remember that. Yep.
Yeah.
The Astros, obviously that's a team that a lot of people love to hate, right? Even the Dodgers, with how much they've spent, they haven't gotten there. So
they've gotten one World Series, and that was the COVID year,
Yeah. That's almost like an asterisk like the Lakers have with the bubble championship, right? So I don't know. I mean, obviously you get a championship, you can't take it away. And that having that winning experience makes a difference. So, obviously, like, you want your team to be in the mix, to be playing meaningful games. And I think the Cubs have that opportunity, and that's why it would have been nice last year to get in, and so that was kind of that collapse was that was hard because it is I take a little bit little while to actually get into the baseball season and be like, okay, we got March Madness, we got other things happening, April, whatnot. And it just takes a little bit for me to get into it. And then it's like, okay, they had I don't know it was a pretty good percentage that they were going to make the playoffs. Oh, they'll make it. And then they didn't. And it was just like, oh, okay. I'd have liked to at least see that team have at least one game or something in the playoffs to get that just experience.
Yeah, Justin Steele on the mound and just kind of see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm kind of the opposite when it comes to baseball. So I'm really into like the first month and a half into the season. And then usually if the Cubs suck, then I'm like, well, baseball season's over. See you later. I don't care about it till October, or maybe, September, I'll, just to kind of catch up on the playoff races and we get into October. And then I kind of lull off. But even if their Cubs are good, I'll still maybe catch a game here and there. But this summer, I'm just, outside doing shit. I'm not indoors, you're just doing stuff, living life, and then it's just like, okay, now we get into, the fall a little bit, and it's like, oh yeah, man, we're playing meaningful games. We're going to be good. Like, I gotta, make sure we're ready for October. So, speaking of playing meaningful games, Caitlin Clark and Iowa just played their first real meaningful game yesterday, the number 1 seed. Thoughts? I do not feel. Do you feel like she needs a national title to cement as being the greatest of all time?
That's such a I don't think she does, right, with what she's done scoring wise and everything. I think she doesn't need that, right? But I just think the state of Iowa needs it, right? I mean,
amen, brother.
I think just like even last year, it just felt weird that Iowa was in a championship game because like in football, I mean, there's a ceiling, right? Like even the Iowa football does well. Like, okay, well,
we win the Big Ten, like we're okay, we're happy, like we're never gonna. Yeah, we're never going to probably ever contend for a national championship, but you have like a couple years where you win the Big Ten and you're just like, yeah, that's a good year. Kurt Ferentz can coach the rest of his life here, and that's
Absolutely.
what he's doing.
and so like, with Caitlin Clark, I think, obviously she's already cemented herself. She's kind of, it's so weird to say change the game, right? But she's definitely brought so many more eyes to the game, which I think at this moment it has to be considered the greatest of all time because of that. Because of like obviously her game, what she's done, scoring wise and everything, but just mainly the greatest of all time, bringing eyes to the game, right? And so like if she wins a national title, it'll just kind of be like, okay, undisputed, right? I mean, that's part of it. But I think like with even more so with baseball, right? This is one game, anything can happen. Like I was thinking, like, she's great, and the team, I think they got a lot of young players, and I think this is obviously going to help Iowa women's basketball continue to stay relevant.
Yeah, they just got another top recruit this year, I think.
So that's like going to be huge. So that's going to be huge. But I think anything can happen. So like getting to the Final Four again, that'll kind of, cement it more. But I think winning the national title to me would just be the frosting on the cake, right? I think I'm not expecting it. I obviously I picked it in my brackets because I did women's brackets this year, and I picked it, and I love to see it. But I'm still like, I'm not going to believe Iowa winning the national title until I actually see it.
I actually like told a story on my last year, like why like the Iowa women's championship game meant more for Iowa than any school. Like this is like they don't have any professional sports. So like Iowa, and I know there's Iowa State fans, but really like if you're like, I feel like the majority of the state is Iowa Hawkeyes. There is a collective few oddballs out there. But or even you and I, but like they don't have, this is it. Like, and they've never gone like, peak, like to where like all eyes are on us. You know what I mean? The only thing we're ever known for is like corn and and that's it. Right. Like, wrestling,
Chad, right? Yeah, wrestling.
Yeah. Field of Dreams and wrestling, like Gable and all of them. So like but like to be like nationally televised game, to have the best player and be the best team, like that doesn't happen. Like it's supposed to be important to us. And LSU's won things, right? Like LSU had one thing. Like they got a great football team, they got a great baseball team. Like to do all this, I got to hear Jonathan Grisham tell me about how great LSU is every fucking Monday. So like, like here, like let us have this moment, like right, let us have this moment, and we couldn't get it.
How crazy would that be? If Iowa State was in the men's Final Four and Iowa was in the women's Final Four.
Oh man,
how great would that be for this? Like I'm not. I've got one of my best friends is went to Iowa State, and so obviously we go back and forth and everything too. Similar to you and I with the Packers stuff, we do the same thing. But I did pick them to go to the Final Four. Obviously. They're another team that would be cool to see get over the hump, because I like to see different teams, even if it's my, state rival. But that would be a really cool showcase for the state of Iowa, I think, all around, right? So.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I don't think Iowa, the women's team, is as good as they were last year, and that worries me, and they're in a tough very tough conference, or tough side of the bracket. I don't know, like
missing Monica.
I think elite, if they lost in the Elite Eight, if they lost in the Elite Eight, I would not be surprised. If they lost somewhere around there, but they got to handle business, tomorrow night in round 2, and then because remember 2 years ago they were the 1 seed or 2 seed, they lost in round 2, and then so who knows? That we know this is Caitlin's last hurrah. I do think this, and I watched a lot of them games. Sometimes I'm like, what is she still doing out there? Like I was watching yesterday, like 16 seconds, half a minute less. Like take her ass out, let her rest. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're up, or even, like too many times we're up like 15 with 2 minutes to go. Take her, like, what do we just take her out and rest her? Like get her some rest and like save her legs for later down the road.
Yeah. I totally agree. And it's interesting too. That was the kind of the big thing about, her attitude as well, and I think was her dad kind of called her out on her attitude and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an interesting kind of storyline, but I mean, that is what that is her though. That's part of her passion, part of her, just what she does. So, I'm just hoping they make at least, a deep run. I'd love to see a title, but I don't think she needs it to cement anything as the greatest of all time. So, yeah.
Me neither. And I say that by this. I say, give me the top 25 greatest women college basketball players of all time. I guarantee you half of them played at UConn and Tennessee. Like they built, the programs were already there, right? So of course, like it's just like a feeder, right? So like what she did in Iowa, little known Iowa, and took them all the way. That's like what Larry Bird did to Indiana State. You know what I mean? Like that's just what the equivalent as to me. Yeah, to me.
Yeah,
so before I want to ask you real quick before we get out of here, just a couple more things, Andy. Iowa football finally. Thank God, Ferentz is gone. We can have, something other than junior high football. I have not watched the Iowa game probably in 2 years. I refused after I said I'm not. First of all, I wasn't watching as long as Petrus was the quarterback because he was. There's got to be somebody on campus. You could have had open workouts for campus for quarterback, and you could have found a better quarterback than him. We wasted so many great Iowa Hawkeye team defenses on shitty ass offense. I couldn't watch it. I might as well just went down and watched junior high football because that was the same offenses they were running. Thoughts on the new OC? And I was not some name out of Central Michigan, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always wait and see, right? I mean, we'll see. Offensively, you're right though. It's something different than Ferentz, and that's a good thing. Like we the Ferentz family has brought the Hawkeyes a lot, right? But it's the family, and it's been years of the same thing.
Yeah.
We're over and over again, and yeah, I mean, even last year, like, I went to the opening game, Utah State, and we had amazing quarterback, so many high expectations, and we barely beat Utah State. Like it was it was a struggle. And so I'm like, oh, great, this is going to be a tough year. And then we get all these injuries.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, even in that first game, you could tell offensively they weren't I mean, they had maybe one play, they were trying some different things, but you just need to adapt with the times, and that's tough with some of these older coaches. And so I'm hopeful, right? But I'm just cautiously optimistic. But like I said before, with Iowa football, there just is a ceiling. And it stinks to kind of look back, like had we had a competent quarterback for the whole season, we would have been in that 4, right? Obviously, I think we maybe would have been blown out, but I mean, I went to the Big Ten championship game, and we almost, with our defense, we almost beat Michigan. We held them, and it's crazy to kind of think back all the what ifs, but in a way, I think it's different sometimes in college football, obviously, because of the turnover in players. Like it would have been nice to see Iowa on that big stage, right? But then it would have almost been embarrassing, because I'm like, they would have gotten their ass beat. They just would have. And so that's different than like in the professional where you carry over with the same players. You're like, okay, they've got the experience. Well, like, to see our program on a national stage get their ass beat, nah, no thanks. I mean, that was like my brother went to that game, that the Rose Bowl, the Christian McCaffrey game, and it was over like within 5 minutes. Like that was the big stage at the Rose Bowl a number of years ago, and they got their ass beat. And so when you're building a program, you just need those signature wins, and it does suck when we get oh gosh, who's that wide receiver with the Bengals now? Charlie, I can't think of his last name, but he transferred to Purdue and broke records with Purdue,
yeah.
And now he's in the NFL, doing well this past year. And so had we had a competent offensive coordinator that knew how to use wide receivers, and we had a quarterback, we had the talent there, obviously, because he's in the NFL, and so that stinks all around. So cautiously optimistic, but just realizing, Iowa's not the SEC, and this is going to be tough this year too, right? We got USC, obviously, all these other teams, Oregon, it's going to be tougher now. Like that's kind of why, like I'm kind of I was the same place with you, not wanting to necessarily watch and invest my time in the Iowa games. Like I just didn't, right? But then I'm like, I wanted to go to the Big Ten championship game, and I knew that Iowa wasn't going to win, but I wanted that experience because I felt like that was going to be the last time.
Yeah, you're probably right. It probably is, unless something crazy happens. Yeah. Andy, before we get out of here, I love to do turd of the week, which is the sports turd of the week, and then dog of the week. So if you want to go first, if you got a turd. If not, I just put you on the spot. I'll go first if you want me to while you think about it.
I'll let you go first. Yeah.
All right. So my turd of the week is none other than John Calipari. I mean, losing in the first round, you have lost. You haven't got out of the first round in the last. I think you guys are like 1-5 in the last NCAA tournaments. You went and lost to a 14 and a 15 seed. That Jack Conkey kid, I don't know. He's only made about 4 shots inside the three-point lane all year. He shot 20 of them. Maybe you should have put that on the scouting report. Hey, guy shoots a lot of threes, and maybe we should think about doubling him, because there's one guy that we don't want beating us, and it's Jack Calkey and John Calipari in Kentucky. You blew up my bracket. You blew up the NCAA tournament. You, John Calipari and Kentucky Wildcats, are my absolute turd of the week.
Do you know where the player that beat Kentucky, where he's from?
Jack Calkey? No.
Jack Calkey, yep. Pewaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh, shit. Get the hell out of here.
Yes. So that was a big thing. He went to Hillsdale College and transferred, right? And so in that same vein, my turd of the week, I don't have a fun little emoji like you do, but Greg Gard is going to be the turd of the week. A lot of Wisconsin people want him out as the head basketball coach of Wisconsin. He kind of rode the coattails of Bo Ryan. And, so like, and it's weird because I actually have, friend that's actually a younger player on the team, right? I think we'll see if he lasts. But he has done. They've had some talented players, and just to lose and not maximize what they have. Greg Gard is my turd of the week.
Yeah. So now my dog of the week. I rarely do this, but my dog and my turd are going to come from the same game. My dog has to be Mr. Jack Calkey. I mean, a white guy playing in Oakland, California, tearing up Kentucky, making not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, not seven, not eight, not 9, but 10 3-pointers in a game. That's a dog. Unfortunately, they did lose in the next round. It would have been nice to see them win in the next, to get to the Sweet 16. But nonetheless, Jack Calkey is my dog of the week. And honorable mention, Yale basketball team yesterday or the other day on Friday night beating Auburn.
Absolutely. Like everybody's bracket, I feel like is busted. I'm gonna say dog of the week, and I'm hoping it continues. Hopefully, it's the dog of the tournament. But I'm going with Caitlin Clark. It really is the Caitlin Clark effect in basketball. And she didn't even score like a ton of points, right? But Caitlin Clark is the dog. She is the man. She's obviously the woman, but Caitlin Clark is the dog of the week, and hopefully keeps that going.
Hey, I appreciate it. Andy, tell everybody where all the people can find you at.
Absolutely. You can find me on the Twitter X at NFL Outdated. You can find me on YouTube, NFL Outdated. You can also find us on TikTok, Friesen, Freezin, the number 4 pod. Have a lot of clips from the show from there. A lot of great stuff. You definitely interact with me. Throw me some shade. I can take it. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. And heading to the NFL draft here in Detroit, or there in Detroit in April. I'm excited, just overall. So I appreciate you having me on. Always enjoy chopping up with you, sir.
I always appreciate it, Andy. Like I said, you were frenemies during football season, friends during the rest of the year. I just always got to hold you to a higher standard of all the dumb shit you have to say. Just know that, hey, this guy doesn't believe all this stuff. He doesn't really believe that Jordan Love is awful and trash and all these awful takes that you have because you would love to have Jordan Love on your team. It's all right. It's all right.
I'm not going that far. But
this has been another great episode of the BodkinShow. Show. Appreciate Andy joining me tonight. I'll be back tomorrow with the LTS show with the LTS Network. We're going to have Jim and John on again. With Jim, we'll talk all the wrestling, some hockey. Maybe we'll obviously update everybody's brackets as far as our side bets are concerned. Your boy's in last place. It looks like it's starting Milkshake City for me at the end of this tournament if I finish last. So, nonetheless, and then with Jim or with Jonathan, we'll talk NL East baseball preview. So that'll happen 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. Be a friend, tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. I'm going to hit that outro. It's been another great episode of the Bodkin Show. We'll see you later, folks. Once I find the outro.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.
Hey, thanks, Andy.